And hello, this is Ian, CEO at We Offer Wellness, and I'm kind of flying down to Bristol today to be with Viola. So, hello, Viola.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, and what's it like in Bristol today?
Well, not very sunny, but it's okay. It's a bit cold.
How long have you been down that part of the world?
Bristol, 4 years?
Does it feel like home?
Yes. Yeah. It took a while, but it does.
When we first spoke, and I don't remember why, it must have been a few months ago. I think you was out of the country doing something. Was it Chile or Italy or somewhere? Was you traveling at the
Uh,
time?
I think, yeah, I was going to Chile, probably.
Ah, and did that happen? At the time you were in Chile,
We went, sorry?
and that did that happen? You did travel to Chile, yeah?
Yes, we did. We went to the desert. It was a really incredible experience.
I can imagine. Okay. So let's find out a bit more about you then, because the hope is that someone comes into We Offer Wellness, they find you, they've read some of the description about what you do, and they've seen some photograph, and it's piqued their curiosity enough to go, what's going on here? I'm vibing with this, and they want to find out a bit more. They press this, and they see you, and it's you talking about you and your journey and what you want to see happen. So let's start with that. A bit about yourself then. So, in terms of the whole, what's your background? Where are your passions? Where are your loves?
Well, I think one of the first things I remember about myself is dancing. And I started dancing since I was very young. And so I think my biggest passion is movement. And I developed such an interest for it that I went on to become a performer, a circus artist, a dancer, and working professionally in Italy and the UK. I always also was super into meditation, so I tried different styles of meditation and eventually kind of naturally became one thing. And so I found out that like movement and meditation together feels like home for me. I started to like after a career in performing when I was 24, I had some health problems and I saw I had to like recycle, as I say, as a creative. So I started doing more choreography or directing and coaching artists. And through this work, I understood how much it is important, especially when it's one to one with an artist, to develop a lot of listening and coaching skills. And then I started to bring in the meditation. And so this is sort of what I'm doing today mainly. I'm helping artists to create whatever they want to create, their artwork, to bring to the world their creation. And I sort of act like a midwife for artists and I help them to overcome any block or any problems, to just help them through the journey of creation, through meditation and through movement and embodiment.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. It also sounds like you're very, very at home in that territory. The
Yeah.
movement, the way you've combined the movement because you came to it naturally. Absolutely no doubt that sounds. And then somewhere in that picture, meditation was discovered, and then somewhere on that journey, they came together. You know. So meditation. So when you was kind of discovering this alongside the dance, did you have any friends or companions that were also into meditation, or was it a bit of a lonely kind of journey at the time?
Well, I have to say, my dad initially influenced me because he was into Taoist philosophies and practice. I also studied Chinese in my BA when I
Oh,
was in my
really?
20s. So I sort of studied Chinese philosophy and I started to practice. Um, I don't know if you know Dao Yin. Is a sort of different types of movement. They work with the meridian channels. And then I was also practicing yoga. But I don't know what was an early influence apart from my dad, but I do know that the contact with nature, I grew up in really beautiful Italian countryside. Just the contact with nature and the sort of like having no TV, also grew up without no TV. That's a big point. Um, it was easier to get into some contemplative states. growing up this way without that much distraction, obviously, without a phone at the time. And so I feel like, yes, there was an influence from the practices that I tried, but also just the way we were living was really easy to sort of drop into meditative states.
It's wonderful. You can almost envisage the countryside, the sort of the speed, the rhythm of it. So look, someone comes into Wheel for Wellness, and I say they found you, they connect with you, okay, and they want to go further. They've built some trust. They kind of they're curious. Do you have like a discovery type call, a conversation to find out a bit more what the person perhaps is seeking for and explain how you work? Do you go that route?
Yes, I normally offer a 45 minutes free consultation, which is an opportunity to understand if we can work together, because it's important for me to know that um, we are sort of we are on the same page, and you understand what I can support you with and what I cannot do. I feel very practical about this, really, and very honest. So I feel the conversation is an opportunity to understand how I work, and then understand what the person needs, and then together we decide, okay, um, is this partnership possible or not? So that's sort of what happens in the call.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the trust, it's one of the things that as a company we're trying to build with people. It's so important now. And why would you not? You're going to engage in a relationship here to try to do something. So that would include sort of tailor making a particular type of meditation for someone, or focusing what type of movement might be included. You kind of in your mind are putting this together when you're having that conversation with people and thinking, oh, this would work. This is worth trying. Is that right?
Yeah, and also maybe trying a tiny bit of movement meditation during the call as a test, and check with the person, how did that feel? Do you think this is a good way of working for you? So it's always good to test the waters and understand.
Yeah, yeah. And do you know what, Vi? What I love also about what you're doing, you could have done, and there's absolutely everything right with it. Some of the traditional approaches to something like Tai Chi and Qigong, especially because of what you said about the where your studies have been. But it's almost like taking the elements of that with something new, pioneering. I'm all for that. We live in great new times with such possibility. And I think with your personality, your flavor, your approach, your creativity, absolutely, create a space for something new. And I think I'd really hope someone does come in and find you and have an experience, because I don't doubt for 1 minute it will be an experience with you, really experiential in that way. And there is something very natural, isn't there? Like a child wanting to move and the natural theatre and expression and discovery. The body, wants to be moved, and it seems like that's what you can provide and help people with.
Yeah, and it's very interesting when you drop the word movement, actually. A lot can come up, and some people are super happy to move, and other people may have more resistance or fear. And so there's a lot of work that is just around, how does the word movement make you feel? How do you feel when you move? And it's important for me to say that the way I use movement is not dance, and it's a very important distinction. It's We all know movement. Without movement, there's no life. Like, we are alive because the heart beats. And so trying to kind of understand that um, everyone intimately knows movement, because they're human beings. And the movement that I invite people to do, it's completely spontaneous most of the time. And it's about just letting the body speak, and then understanding what the body has said. This is the idea.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad we found, and so forth. And yeah, let's get this in the world. Anyway, a wellness tip. Do you have a wellness tip for us? And all this will be revealed to people at some point. But what's your wellness tip, please, Viola?
So the wellness tip is, when you feel unwell, and by unwell I mean also psychologically unwell, or like you have a lot of thoughts, you have thoughts you don't want, you're just feeling not good, not great. Check in with your body. This is like the biggest. If you can learn one thing to with me, and you learn to check in with your body when you're not feeling well, my job is done. It's something that becomes like a habit and it's a muscle. But a lot of the time we are like, we can be stuck in our head, for example, or have a lot of worry and anxiety, and it's just doing this thing of dropping down to your tummy and checking, what am I doing, what's your body doing? And most of the time you will notice you're not breathing, you're contracting, there's something going on in your body that can be resolved through a practice.
I love it. I love also the fact that you have such trust in the human body, you know, that it knows and it can inform and it can educate. And all we've got to do is listen to it, connect with it, you know?
Yes,
Wonderful.
I have absolute trust in the body. And I think as a culture, we need to
Yeah.
reestablish the connection with the body as a positive one.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm with you on that. Viola, thank you for doing this today. And people, please do come into We're for Wellness, find Viola, Flow and Radio, all that you've heard. Come have this experience. Is this for you? Come and do it. So thanks for doing this today. Yeah.
Thank you.